lot of actors, like Ross from Friends, right? You used to call me like Ross, that's Ross, or Joey from Friends, or whatever. When you play a character and you get known for that character, and people will call you that outside of it, those people are like, don't call me that, or don't talk about that. Listen, playing Superman was the greatest start of a career. If I'm known as Superman for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that.
The Man of Steel himself, Mr. Dean Cain!
Let's go! Exactly.
I didn't get to see it. Yes, it's been a while. Over here. See, anywhere you like, sir. How about over here? Careful of that microphone there. Just the stand. You could take the microphone. But,
big stand.
The weight is not the best.
It's a rather large stand. Hello.
All right. We need a large stand when we've got Superman in the house here.
How's it going? I see a Bills hat. You're all right in my book, sir.
You're all right.
There we go. Man.
Listen, I'm a Vikings fan, which is basically the same thing as a Bills fan. We're both 0 for 4.
Oh, went 0 for 4. Yeah, that's true. You didn't do 4 in a row, though.
No. Close.
Really?
We were close. No, you guys have got that sole honor to yourself.
I think we're due this year. I'm just saying. I think the team's going to make it happen this year.
No.
If I hadn't gotten injured, they asked me the question. It's always a dangerous thing to ask an athlete, right? Like, if you had made the team, do you think that the Bills' fortunes would have been different? My answer was, yeah, you'd love to believe as an athlete, that I would have been in the wrong spot, lined up in the wrong way, the ball bounced to me, and something would have changed. And then they made the headline, Cain says he could have changed the fortunes for the Bills. I was like, no, I did not say that. So you got to be real careful with those journalists.
Yes, we're not going to go there. But anyways, I digress. So it's been a while since I've seen you. Now, folks, are you okay with us just catching up a little bit with a little bit of football here?
All right.
Because this is Buffalo, right? This is Bills country, right? All right. So let us just wrap a little bit. You think this is the year for the Bills? There are a lot of people that have kind of overlooked the Bills this year.
Yep.
You're looking at you look at Get Up and First Take and stuff like that, and they are ignoring maybe number 2 or number 3 quarterback in the league now.
Or number 1.
Or number 1, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He can wear that Superman ass anytime. But I think the difference, what they're missing, we Stephon Diggs moved on to Houston, and there's that situation. We lost a couple of our safeties. But what's going to do it for the Bills is the team. It's going to be a team effort instead of just being, throw to step. No offense to Stephon, but he's wanting the ball a lot. There's any good player wants to do that, but there might have been some friction. I don't know, but now he's got a lot of weapons. He can move it around. Mm. Nobody is, I heard Tom Brady the other day talking about, like, when you have a Randy Moss, you got to get him the ball early and often to get him in there. And, when you're playing against another team, you want to scheme against their weaknesses on that team. And it may not be that it goes to your stud.
Exactly.
So that's part of being a teammate. And I think that the team that the Bills are putting together right now is going to surprise a lot of people.
And that draft, they had a great draft, dude. Yeah. And as a Vikings fan, I can attest to the Diggs thing. Oof. I can attest.
Yeah,
to the
you had him
thing.
first. Yeah. I mean, he's not an amazing player.
I want to say I'm sorry, but I was happy to see him go.
Amazing player. A third what? A third wide right. Oh, Scott Norwood.
Yeah.
That would hurt me the most because, back in the day, the defensive backs couldn't wear like Norwood wore 11. I wouldn't have gotten it anyway because he was here. But, now you as a defensive back can wear number 11, which was the number I would have went for. Instead, they put me at 36. I was going to change it once I made the squad, but it would have been a 20-something. But it looked a lot like Mark Kelso, who had 38, and they wouldn't kind of be able to tell who was in the game, which is smart.
Miss that. So we go from playing for the Bills to being the greatest superhero of all time. I don't know if you heard any of our chat before, and
I didn't get to hear it.
Yeah, we're just talking about why Superman is so important and why getting and I don't know. Let me ask you if you feel the same way, Dean. Superman can be anybody. You could have Val Zod, you can have President Alice, but if it's Clark Kent has to be truth, justice, and always doing the right thing, right?
You know, I'd say truth, justice, in the American way.
I'm Canadian. I'm Canadian. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
And I'll tell you why I say that, though. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. As you look at the time he was created was around, you know, in that World War II situation, and created by two Jewish men.
Yes.
And the thing you talk about is the reason I say truth, justice in the American way is that truth and justice are hugely important, and equality is hugely important. And it hasn't always had a history of that in the United States. But my father, and was raised in small town, the United States. My dad was raised in South Dakota. You know, you take the most powerful being in the world, and he is raised by a loving family with small town American values, which are truth and justice. And when I say the American way, it is individualism, individual rights, which are hugely important. And even today, we're hearing about so many things where it's all the collective good. No, individual rights are hugely important. It's about the ability to compete fairly, right. Having, you know, the government put things in your way, or other organizations. That's fair competition, the ability to do really well.
Yeah.
And by doing well, then you have what is the American dream. You're able to have the money, take care of your family, take care of your people. And that's really what that American dream is about. So when I say truth, justice, the American way, that's the things that I'm talking about. I think Superman being raised in that situation, being the most moral and good person, he could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be, he could have gone the other way. Yeah, and then been all for himself and become. I mean, he could be the most powerful being on earth and destroy everybody who doesn't agree with him. And he does the opposite. So that's why I think it's so important.
That's true power, though.
That's really true power. Yes.
If you've got all the power in the world and you're not even that you're not willing, that you refuse to use that to enslave or to further your own agenda. And that's what I think is always. And we said there's two superheroes in comic books that are uncomparable, that you just can't mess with them if they're done right. And that is Clark Kent, and that is 616 Steve Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Captain America. Those two characters, I think, are the most truest of the true when it comes to that.
Which, by the way, was a weird thing for me is when Henry Cavill, I think, is a great guy, and he did a great job playing the character, but it was a very dark world. And then the thing about Superman is that his biggest weakness is his goodness. Right. So when he was fighting in that thing with, I guess it wasn't Zod, whoever he was fighting, they're throwing each other through buildings. Think about how many people are dying.
Exactly.
Superman would never allow that. He'd put himself out before he'd let someone die. And so that drove me a little crazy.
What drove me crazy, and you and I have talked about this the last panel too, and we talked about this a little bit before he came in here. I love Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Love Kevin Costner. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, but that was not a Superman.
Not when
there's no way Pa Kent is telling you maybe you let a bus full of kids die to protect your own secret identity.
No.
Maybe?
No.
Like this was a hard enough time for me. Like
I'd have saved his ass so fast. By the time his hand was here, he'd already be back going like, oh wow, I'm already here. All right, good. That's how fast that would have been. No way.
Exactly. To me, there was no excuse for it to be that way. And I understand. And
I understand what they were doing, but
and so it sounds like you're a lot like me, because you've probably heard this since you played Superman. All the people that aren't really like comic book fans saying, "Oh, I like Superman, but I just like to see him a little bit darker, a little more."
Like, that ain't Superman.
That's not.
Then you got to like Batman, and shame on you.
You should have been here for the pre.
That was exactly we're dead on.
We're hitting them all. We're hitting the greatest hits.
It's true. Well, we got Iron Man here, which is cool.
Yeah, we do. And he's got he's doing instead of the Wolverine popcorn bucket, he's got the Iron Man head.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wait, you have candy?
Oh, that's good. Chocolate kisses. I just got a kiss from Tony Stark.
I do it just to say I got a kiss. Well, I got two kisses from Tony Stark.
Why did you get two?
Well, I mean, Canadian. It's
you got a toonie.
It's a toonie. It's a toonie. Exactly. No, I there's something I meant to ask you last time, and I really wanted to ask you this. And so, for you, what's the story that you didn't get to tell as Superman that you wish you would have? Is there a storyline like? Because it made me think of it when you talked about the Red Sun Superman, like landing in Russia, or even like a Brightburn.
That'd be fun to do now.
right?
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
And Kingdom Come would be fun to do now as well.
And Kingdom Come, I think there's a lot of us that think that you would be like you and Brandon. I think are the two that the people always look at, and I think either one of you is absolutely perfect. I think both.
I like me better for it than Brandon, personally. I love Brandon, but he doesn't need another job.
No.
No, he's great.
No. So what is it? What is
better at Adam? You think? Yeah, he's good at.
He's a great
Adam,
Ray Palmer. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. It fits him.
Yeah.
He really looked like Christopher Reeve, though. And then when they did that film, I was struck by. I was like, wow, okay, but that's impossible. What are you going to do? You can't bring back Christopher Reeve. It's a tough one. Plus, in his version, that not Brandon's choice, but that he was having someone else raise his kid, and I just don't. I can't.
Superman.
I can't get down with that either. No. That is not being the father that I am.
No. And Clark wouldn't have done that anyways. Yeah.
No chance.
No. So what is the story you'd want to see?
Well, when we go back to Lois and Clark, we never got to finish. We did 4 seasons, so we were going for the 5th season. We were picked up and everything was good. And Terry Hatcher got pregnant, and I didn't do it. So I want to make that clear. I had nothing to do with that. It was her husband, and she was pregnant. It was going to be a very difficult pregnancy, so she was going to be bedridden. I said, "Look, let's just write it into the story because this is where I was hoping we would go. Mm-hmm. I was hoping we'd end up having kids and start to have that because, you get the family thing together. As a parent, I'll tell you, my son had a heart murmur when he was real young, and we were worried about it. And it turned out that it turned out to be innocent, like 90% of them do. But you go through this whole process. And as a parent, I even had I had a little conversation with God after everything was okay. I was driving home, and his mother and I were not together, so she had him that day. And I was driving up my little hill, and I had to pull over on the side of the road, and I just started crying, bawling. And I had a conversation with God, and I said, I don't know if I can have more kids because you're so vulnerable when you're a parent. You'll do anything for your kid, and when they're hurting. I mean, I've sat there and said prayers to God before, and when my son is sick, I'm like, just make me sick. Can you just not make him sick? And it's that feeling where someone's more important than you. I think it would have been great to see Lois and Clark get there. Clark already felt that way about Lois, but it'd be great to see Lois be in the position where she would do anything for the kids, and now maybe she wouldn't go out and cause so much trouble. Maybe.
None of us buy that. None of us buy that at all.
I think it'd be incredible. Maybe not as bad, but I think it'd be incredible to see that transformation in her character, having to be a mama bear, and how you'd have to worry about your kids and how vulnerable. And you, as parents together, you're both vulnerable,
right?
And so nobody else in the world will understand how you guys feel about this kid except for you. And I think that would have been really incredible.
And that was way before Jonathan was even thought of in the comic book.
Oh yeah.
So you basically had the original. You had the original idea for that.
I was pushing.
Would yours have had superpowers?
Yes, and I would have done it. I think it would. Just like everything else, it would happen around puberty, which is a very awkward time for everybody. So he'd be awkward or she'd be awkward. Yeah. I'd love to see them have a girl and a boy.
Yeah.
See how each one of them were different.
Because Superman does have a daughter in one of the multiverse.
There's so many
multiverses.
I don't even want to. I can't do the multiverses because we can't do multiverses. Like you get one shot.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hate that it goes into. Well, you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
There's one going on right now. Not me though. It's the guy, another English guy named David Cornsweet.
Cornsweet.
Yeah. That's a weird ass name. But he's a corn sweat. He's a barley sweater. I don't know what it is. But no, I've seen some pictures leaked. I don't know that I love the suit. So maybe it's the way it's shot. It'll look better.
Yeah.
But the high neckline, I don't get that. I much prefer the wide. Otherwise, you feel like you're getting strangled. Yeah, that's a weird. I don't.
To me, it seems like they're combining a bunch of different costumes together. It's the new 52 high collar. You've got the old school red trunks. You've got the spit curl, and then you've got the Kingdom Come S. Even though it's in the different colors,
mixing it up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's trying to appease everybody, which is not always.
Then you appease no one. Exactly. But what I like about James Gunn, like if you look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, the original one. So funny. Yeah. Had a sense of humor. And that's what I think was missing, that heart, big time. Mm-hmm. And that was missing in the Henry Cavill version. It was more of a Jesus figure. Yeah. And that sort of situation as opposed to that twinkle in the eye, that smile. And I hope he brings some of that back.
Yeah. It was so weird that they would say finally say that that's not an S, it's a symbol for hope, and then doesn't show any hope in the entire.
Yeah. He's a hopeless mother for that,
Anyone who has a question, feel free. I'm just going to ask you to come up to the microphone if you don't mind there. So come on up. Anyone who has a question, just line up there, okay? And we'll get to you guys.
How you doing, Dean? Long time no see.
Great. Good to see you. Cheers.
Good to see you. Did they tell you what was going to happen in season 5 with the baby and everything?
They did not, and I wrote a couple of the episodes and I was always trying to get involved, but they kind of kept us out, which was unfortunate. I was like, "What? Just tell us what's going on." And they kept the sort of the head shed there.
Yeah.
Well, kept it a secret. My understanding, I've heard some other interviews with some of the producers that have spoken since then. It was that maybe it was going to be Kryptonian royalty that they would, become attached to for a while. Like, I'm adopted. Like, I know what it's like to fall in love with, even if you're fostering a dog or something, you start to fall in love with that. And if they were taking care of this kid and then the kid has to go, I can imagine how upset they'd be. But how often do you hear like where couples are struggling to conceive, and then they finally adopt a child and boom, then they conceive? Something about that mindset, I think, would have happened with Lois and Clark. They weren't able to conceive. Dr. Klein said it's impossible. They have this kid. They got to watch this kid. It's brokenhearted when the kid goes away. And then what do you know next? She's pregnant. And this time I would have done it. Right?
This time it was Dean, not even Clark.
So I was hoping that's where we were going, but I really don't know the answer to that, sir.
Okay. Did you like playing the alternate universe, Clark?
Oh,
Superman?
Sure. Yeah, it's always fun. When you're playing the same character all day, every day, it's fun to mix it up and play different things. And we found all sorts of fun, silly ways to do that. Some more silly than others. The Lucy and Ricky Ricardo one and things like that, which was fun to do. That was funny, but it's like, man, I was terrified. Lois.
Yeah, so, do that in 2024. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Thanks, my friend.
Yeah. I also loved you on Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
That was so much fun. That was great fun.
After that,
I enjoyed that.
So you do write?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Right. That's
I started
good.
as a writer.
Oh, good. Because I like writing too,
Yes.
and acting. I was going to ask you, since you're going behind the scenes and doing your work with acting, are you ever going to do any comedies or any work in this city, what you think?
Oh, here in Buffalo?
Buffalo, yeah.
Oh, I mean, look, I doing a series. So people don't understand. Like when you do a show like Lois and Clark, I would leave my house. I'd be home maybe at the lowest, my average time, I'd be home 18 hours later every day. So you start Monday morning, you're at work at 5 a.m. and you finish Saturday morning when the sun comes up, and you flip it around every weekend. It is absolutely just all encompassing, and there's no life outside of that. I was always wondering how, because I was 26 when we started.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a family. I had a dog or two at home, and they could run around with each other. But I don't know how these guys were married. The crew guys, people like that, pulled those hours. It was insane. So I don't even want to do it. Excuse me. Even talking about it makes me choke. I don't want to do those kind of hours, but to do like 10 episodes, which you see a lot of actors doing now, 10 episodes, because the landscape has changed.
Streaming.
I could do 10 episodes, yeah. And I would be in here, Buffalo, in a heartbeat. That'd be great fun. Then I'd go to the Bills games and feel happy. But I would, comedies are great fun, especially the sitcoms, the 3-camera ones, because you only tape one day a week. You rehearse like 3 days or 4 days.
Yeah.
Those things are great fun. You got a live audience, and their hours are so much better. When you do 1 hour, which is where I'm more comfortable, when I've done more work, you end up, all day long, every day on set, and there is no life. So you better get a nice trailer, because that's where you're going to eat and sleep, most of your time. You're not at home
Oh, really?
very often at all. Yeah, and I love being home.
Yeah.
So if I could do so, I live in Las Vegas now. I left California. California got crazy. So I moved to Las Vegas last May. So it's been a little over a year.
So you like Las Vegas, huh?
I love it.
You gamble?
Yeah, I can gamble. I don't gamble much, but I will.
good
I
to
do
know.
bet on the Bills to win the Super Bowl every year.
Well, hopefully we're going to.
So I'll just take your money.
So right now, it's pretty
I'll
much
just take your money right now.
That's just a donation. I've donated a little bit to that, but one of these days it's going to hit and it's going to pay back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good news.
I hope it's this year.
Maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, people don't understand how tough that is being number one on the call sheet, though.
Oh, my God.
Especially number one. Like, you're talking about the hours, but, like, those are number one on the call sheet hours, and you're the last one to... And you have to... Especially you're being Superman.
I was two. I was two.
Leader.
We gave her number one, and I got 2 and 2 S. So there was 2 characters. So
on,
I'd know
Clark and
on the card
Superman.
it'd be the 2 would be Clark and 2S is Superman. So I'd know which one I was going to be. And it was always both in the same day.
I
So
had no idea Terry was number one on
yeah.
there.
She wanted that early on. That's very Lois Lane. And they asked me, they're like, hey, she wants to be number 1 on the call sheet. What do you think? And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. I still get paid, right?
Cool.
I still get paid, right?
Say, don't change anything, right? Okay. But I didn't. It wasn't a thing that I was pushing for. But it was Lois and Clark. And,
Yeah, fair enough.
listen, I know when to fight my battles, and that wasn't one I wanted to fight.
So now we know why Tyler went with Superman and Lois. Go ahead, brother.
Well,
But good job. That's beautiful.
actually, kind of to piggyback on that. First of all, I was wondering because the last time you were here, you did the Jim Kelly golf tournament.
Yes.
Is that going on this weekend or?
It's going on. I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's in July.
Okay.
And I have a conflict on that because I told them I probably wouldn't be able to be there. I think it's July, but that's so much fun. I'm terrible at golf, but it's fun. It's for great cause, and obviously I love Jim Kelly. He's a great guy. Been through an awful lot. Well, he's a whole different guy than he was when he was playing. He was basically a linebacker who played quarterback.
Right.
He really was. He came into camp. He was 260-something pounds.
He was Ben Roethlisberger before Roethlisberger was.
100%. And he was a quarterback and a linebacker body and a hell of a competitor.
Dante Culpepper. Sorry.
Yeah, jeez.
So the question I have for you is, I mean, I know you were doing like a volunteer sheriff or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a deputy sheriff.
Now, are you still doing that, or
Yes, sir.
What do you like to do in your free time other than doing a volunteering like that?
I don't have a whole lot of free time, but I do love. I think our first responders, our law enforcement, our military, our firefighters and EMTs and those folks, dispatchers, everybody on the front line, they're all heroes to me. That's why I'm a fully sworn deputy sheriff in Frederick County, Virginia, and I'm a reserve police officer in Pocatello, Idaho. So I'll do that with the men and the women there, and because they don't get paid much. Whenever there's a problem, they're there. I was away last weekend, and there was my alarm went off in my house, and my son was there, and he was there with his girlfriend, but they were downstairs, and it was an upstairs alarm, outdoor thing coming in. And my son, they were terrified because then a motion detector went off, so they were sure somebody was in there. And if I'm there, I'm armed to the teeth, so I would have been just fine by me. And I know this, but he wasn't, and he didn't feel comfortable. So the police were called in. There were 7 cars came through, and these guys were there. And I stayed on the phone for the entire 2.5 hours as they scoured through the house, went through every little thing. It's those moments. It's like when you're sick and a doctor takes care of your kid, or you want to thank them and hug them. They're doing it all day, every day. And that's what these men and women in uniform are doing all day, every day, running towards the trouble. So I try to thank them by participating and being with them and bringing more eyes and awareness to what they go through every day. And how, listen, when you have a bad interaction with a police officer, it's terrible. It makes you not like law enforcement, and it's awful. And we've all had, I've had bad interactions, and it really makes you upset because you feel helpless. There's a way to deal with it. And the way to deal with it is to complain to the superiors after the event, comply, and then complain to the superiors, because it goes a long way. If you get complaints, you're going to be gone. And you're going to be gone soon. But I just think it's gotten to a place where, and I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. It's just gone to a place that's defund the police and all this police are bad and blah, 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 blah. I don't get down with that. I'm not okay with that. So I do the exact opposite. I volunteer and do that. Outside of that, I just like to spend time with my family. I like to go, I'll do anything as long as my family's around. I'm a family kind of guy, and that's the best.
Love it.
Is that boss? Yes, I will not miss a Buffalo game.
Yeah, but nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's quite. I'm just playing. I promise. And saying that he's armed to the teeth, this man really is the man of steel. Sorry, I dad jokes all day.
Well, the jokes. The laws are different in Nevada than they are in California.
Oh, okay.
Too. And I believe in the Second Amendment. I'm unapologetic about that, and it's written into the Bill of Rights for a reason.
Yeah.
I sit on the board of directors for the NRA. I have for two different. I just got reelected. I'm going to stay on there too because I just believe in the Second Amendment. So you have the right to protect yourself.
There we are.
Hi. As I stand up here, I'm a disabled veteran of the U.S. Army.
God bless you.
I appreciate your statements.
Appreciate you. See, there's a real hero. That's what you get right there. She's not wearing a cape, but real heroes don't wear capes.
My daughter, Caitlin, is right there.
Hi, Caitlin.
She wanted me to tell you that she's actually born from Kansas.
Oh, my gosh. There we go.
Fort Riley.
All right. Is it still Fort Riley? They haven't changed the name yet?
Thank
Good.
God, no.
Good.
It's still Fort
I was born Selfridge Air Force Base in Michigan.
Okay.
So I was born on base as well. You're okay in my book.
Luke Air Force Base in Arizona.
There we go.
It's a family thing.
It is. Understood.
So I grew up not in comics. Sorry, guys. I'm very big on the Superman. We talked about this earlier before. My first boyfriend's name was Christopher Reeves. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God.
With an S.
With an S.
Look at that. So it wasn't the same guy.
Grew up on Smallville. Love Supergirl. Ask her. I'm binging it all the time. Probably.
It's a good one. I like, especially the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I'm gone out.
So she knows you mostly as
Jeremiah.
Danvers.
All right.
So that's how she's been introduced to you. So my question is, sorry, long intro, guys. I'm nervous. I'm
Good intro.
Don't be nervous. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Well, how is it like being re-asked back to be involved in all of these not multiverses, not spin-offs, but like continued projects when it comes to Superman Steel? Wow, I don't get nervous.
It's all good. Legacy projects, I think, is
Yeah, legacy project.
So a lot of actors, Ross from Friends, right? You used to call me like Ross. That's Ross, or Joey from Friends, or whatever. When you play a character and you get known for that character, and people will call you that outside of it. Those people are like, don't call me that, or don't talk about that. Listen, playing Superman was the greatest start of a career. If I'm known as Superman for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that. I mean, there's a lot, Coach Levy here at Buffalo was like, it's so hard to be a Buffalo Bill. Hell, we cut Superman. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, hold up, coach. You cut me off of injury reserve. That's not right. And I sued. I won that game. But that's the truth. So you got it. That he did say that. Damn it, coach. But I mean, it's true. I love being associated with the character. If I hadn't worked since I played the character and I wouldn't get anything else, I'd be bummed out about that. But it's always wonderful to be associated with that character. So when they said to me, will you come on Smallville? Well, Christopher Reeve was my Superman, not your boyfriend Reeves, but the other guy. And once he did it, it's like he is my Superman. So when they said, would you come on? I would say, Christopher came on. Of course I'll come on.
Yeah.
And then when they were doing Supergirl, it was getting produced by a gentleman named Greg Berlanti. Greg Berlanti is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most shows on at the same time. Arrow, the Multiverse, the Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, all those. But I did his first movie ever that he wrote, produced, and directed called The Broken Hearts Club. And he was working on, was it Dawson's Creek or something beforehand? And he'd been doing real well. And he wrote incredible dialogue. But this one was personal because it kind of told his story of being a gay man coming through. And you would never know. Like, some people you'd go, that's a gay man. And then some people are flamboyant, and Greg is not. But it was his story. So I fought hard to be in that film and loved it. And so it was Greg reaching out and saying, hey, would you reprise, would you come here and play Jeremiah Danvers? We think it'd be fun. And it was great because then, excuse me, my wife, was the original Supergirl. So all that stuff was Terry came back and played something on there. Kevin Sorbo and I were the last two up for Superman, so it was great fun that he got to go out there and do that. So it was just fun. So I think they did a great job of bringing folks back. I'm honored to be part of that whole universe, and I'd like to stay in that. Again, if James Gunn called, I'd show up. It depends on what he had me do, but I think it'd be great, and I think that sort of thing is an Easter egg for all of us, and I'd love to be part of it no matter what.
And as a fan, like I'm sure all of you are. Anytime we see something like that, where we see you show up on, oh my God, it's Superman in a Superman show, but he's not playing. We're all Leonardo DiCaprio in what is that? The Hollywood one. Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy. What a great meme that is. It's so good. It's true.
Yes, no, there were a lot of crossover from Smallville to Supergirl, so I love that.
I think it's great, and I think it was smart to do, and I think most people are cool with that. You know what I mean? Most actors are like, that's to be associated with that. I think most of us like that.
Legacy. We got it.
So, hi, I was just curious. When CW was doing their story of Crisis on Multiple Earths, did you get a call like Tom Welling did?
No, I don't. Well, I do remember them asking about my availability for something, and I don't know what that was, but I was not available. I remember that being the case, but I honestly don't think they were looking to have me come into that. I just don't think they were.
They got the original Robin to come in to do a holy
Bert.
Oh, we heard.
And they got some of the original Birds of Prey cast to do a little.
Yeah,
they had Titans. I was actually waiting to see you pop up because I haven't.
They couldn't afford me.
Thank you. Good.
Me or Nick Cage, exactly. You know, when Nick Cage was going to play Superman, I got a call one day when I was on set, whatever, and my sister's like, you just got a call from Nick Cage. He wants to talk to you about Superman. I was like, he's really going to do this. This is really going to happen. And then I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
I guess it died. I'm kidding. What was that time?
Well, you know, there was the whole you've heard the Kevin Smith story, how he was supposed to direct that?
I heard bits and pieces.
Yeah, and then
Tim Burton came in or whatever.
Yeah, because they wanted a big metal spider or something like that to be the big villain for Superman. He's like, why? Like, Kevin Smith's a geek like us. And
Kevin Smith
is the geek.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not doing that. And next thing you know, that director does a movie called Wild Wild West, and the end of the movie is
a big old damn spider. That guy wanted the damn spider.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yes,
Go ahead. Sorry, sir.
So noticing your look and your t-shirt and everything, I'm wondering, would you ever do like a Frank Castle?
Oh, would you do a Punisher?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, this shirt honors Chris Kyle.
Yeah.
Who was the American Sniper and a total hero to me and a good friend. And I would, yeah. You know, he actually had that symbol on when he was fighting in Iraq. Yeah. And a lot of the guys did that. And in fact, a buddy of mine, Sean Parnell, who, if he Outlaw Platoon, if you look at that, if you read his book, they did the same thing. They put the Punisher skull on their Humvees and put it all over. And I mean, that's just for those guys who are war fighters and doing that. And you got to believe what you're doing is right. And you got to be, listen, I've been to war. I was in Iraq in 2005. They say war is hell. War is hell. And you have to be very hard mentally and physically because you're going to see some of the most awful. So that's why they have the gallows humor. They'll make jokes and the opportunity. I was there. We were getting shelled. We were getting bombs dropped on us. We were it was a Friday night, and they knew it would because the mosque had just gotten out, and they're like, what are you doing here Friday at 5? I'm like, I go where they tell me to go. Well, we're going to get hit right now. And we started getting hit, and one of the guys is like, we're getting hit, and we're getting RPGs, and we're getting rockets, and finally one of the guys is like, he's like, all right, I'm sick of this crap. Come on, Superman, let's go. And I was like, bro, you do not take me out here. I am not going anywhere. And they thought it was so damn funny. And I was like,
call Steve Rogers. Never mind.
Yeah, fine. I won't go. I won't. But it was, those moments like it. Like, so the Punisher is, I hate what they've done to it, they've done to him. And I wish they hadn't, because I think, that's a character that should be left alone. And it means a lot to a lot of law enforcement, a lot to a lot of military folks.
So I have one more question about that. If you could adapt him in your way, how would you portray him? You think that's a little different from everyone else?
If I were to play Frank, I think, first of all, that Bernthal did a great job. Well, see, Bernthal's crazy.
Yeah,
he's crazy anyway. He's a boxer.
Bernthal is the Punisher.
He is. He really is. I wouldn't want to. I don't know that I would feel comfortable trying.
It's him and Frank Grillo are the two real Punishers
really
in that.
Too.
Yeah,
they're really good. But Bernthal is just. I love him. But I mean, he is. I buy everything he's saying, man.
He's a real one, just like his podcast says.
Yes, sir. 100%. So, I'd turn to him.
Yeah.
I'd turn to him because that to me is, he's a true, pretty damn good representation of it.
Well, thank you. And I saw you on Flashcast before. It was awesome seeing you there.
I appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. I got my new graphic novel out called Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, if you didn't know. So we put it out there. Gabe El Taib, who was one of the DC artists, used to work on Superman. He actually quit when they got rid of Truth, Justice, the American Way, because they didn't renew the trademark. I don't know why. But he finally had it with some of the things that DC Comics was doing, and he says, I don't want to make comics for them anymore. So we were made our own.
Nice.
So it's a character called Chris Tanaka. My given name is Tanaka.
Yeah.
I was born Tanaka and adopted when I was 4 and became Cain. And people were like, you tried to hide it, you were Japanese. I'm like, I was 4 and I got adopted. I wasn't trying to hide anything.
Hey, go talk to Charlie Sheen, okay? Charlie Estevez.
I grew up with Charlie. I grew up with him.
Yeah, great guy.
And Emilio. In fact, my dad directed all those guys in Young Guns. So yeah. My dad produced and directed Young Guns when I was...
Come on, I had no idea.
Yeah. And The Principal, and That Was Then, This Is Now, and Pure Country. My dad
The Principal is low-key one of... That is such a good movie.
Lou
you guys know
Gossett
that movie, The Principal, Louis Gossett Jr.?
Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi
Jr.
You guys got the last 2 questions here, okay?
3.
Last 3.
You're in there, Austin.
Last 3. Then you guys got to deal with Chandler Riggs. I'm just telling you.
Hit me.
I wanted to ask, what was it like when you got to wear the Superman suit for the first time on Lois Clark?
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Because you got to build that suit, right? And what do we start with? A blue unitard with feet. I was like, why don't we have feet in the thing? I don't know. Anyway, we ended up using stirrups eventually, like baseball stirrups. That's how that went. And it was just a unitard. I was like, I'm going to be killed. I can't do. It's a unitard. And, then we, put on the boots, which were, they were laced up the very end of the pilot. Man, you know how long that took to put those damn boots on? Whew. At the end, we got ones that are just like Velcro in the back, and we got it down to a science by the end. But, there was no S on the suit. They were having to build it. I was like, oh my God. And they're like, you might have to get in the gym. You're kind of skinny. I was like, jeez, what? And then they had the size, trying to find the size of the neck, the right size for the S. And the cape was this wool stuff that was so heavy that it wouldn't fly when they hung me from the things and shot all this air at me, and it wouldn't go right. So it was a terrifying ordeal. But then that moment where we finally got it all together, though, in the pilot, and Mom takes out the old S and pops it on there, it was magical. Yeah, it was magical. And I just hoped that people would buy me as Superman, You never know as an actor if people are going to like you. And I was like, I hope they like me. And it turned out well. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah, no, there's a lot of juice right there.
You're definitely I think everybody kind of agrees. Like when they do the Mount Rushmore, you're always on there.
I'll take it. They try to erase me when they don't like something you have to say on Twitter. They get even when I was playing on Supergirl, they're like, get rid of him. He said that girls shouldn't compete against boys in sports. I'm like, I was a pro athlete. Girls shouldn't compete against boys in sports. It's not right. And I have nothing against anybody. You're an adult. You can be whoever you want, love whoever you want. Don't do it to the kids, and don't ruin. I mean, all my ex-girlfriends were pro athletes.
Yeah.
If they're competing against you, they're not going to win. I mean, it's just not the way it goes. They shouldn't be having
Well, maybe against me. Maybe against me.
Maybe against us now. But I mean, that's just it's not the same game. Venus Williams said it really well.
Well, Venus and Serena played against 3 of the worst male players on the circuit and got their asses handed to them. Yeah, and it was not close. Like the Billie Jean King thing is also, people have said that was kind of a work. Yeah. But either way,
I love female athletes, and I think they should have the opportunity to compete against females.
And I'm the type of person when I'm watching a show, I don't care who you are as a person, as long as what you're giving me is enjoyable. Yeah. And I should say I don't care who you are as a person, within reason, of course.
Yeah.
Like if you're Jeffrey Dahmer, I'm not.
Yeah, but he was such a good actor.
He was such.
I mean, he was really good.
I mean, he was a good actor. His appetite left a little to be desired, but.
No, it's true though. But there's people that I don't agree with politically at all.
Yeah.
Rob Reiner, I think, is a great director. Robert De Niro, I don't agree with politically, but I think he's an amazing actor. I'd work with him in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there you go,
Stark.
Mr. Stark.
Getting back to sports, you used to live here in Buffalo.
Yes, sir.
What do you recommend going to eat around here?
Oh my God, it was 35 years ago at this point.
Go to Niagara Falls, Ontario.
I love Niagara.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah, but don't speed.
Oh, what? No. Oh, my God.
I got busted for going 5 miles per hour over or whatever.
In Canada?
Yeah, in Niagara.
Canada, the whole thing there is if you're not doing 20 over, we're all over the horn on you. We have signs all over the highway that says, slower traffic, keep right. Yeah.
Man, I got ticketed in Niagara by the lake.
Well, you know what? Oh, Niagara on the Lake. That's
why.
Niagara on the Lake, let me tell you, is the most bougie place in the world. That Niagara on the Lake is basically every Hallmark movie you've ever seen.
And then half of them that I've been in.
Yes. So you know that one with Dean and Candace Cameron?
Yep. I got a ticket.
One of the 5 of them. I'm sorry. Last question.
Don't speed there.
No, you're good. I really don't have a question. I just want to say, as someone with family in the Army and the Navy, I want to say thank you for being a true American hero, and God bless America.
God bless it. God bless America. Hey, those are real heroes, 100%. And what's really scary, one of the things that I found really scary when I was in the middle of a war, was that they were all so young. The commanding officers were a little bit older, but they were kids, and my son was 5. But I'm looking at 18, 19-year-old kids in some of the harshest conditions being bombed. And every time I landed, and I did it 3 times a day, go to 2 forward operating bases and 1 big base, but start the day at a big base, is I'd land and I'd go right in the medical units, and all these kids are shot up and blown up, and they're off to, they were getting off to Germany, and then they were going to go from Germany, to Baghdad, and then to Germany. And I was with, dozens and dozens and dozens of these kids. And what the coolest thing is about when I first started doing Comic Cons, I would constantly meet soldiers that I met when I was over in Iraq.
That's awesome.
And it was really cool. And they were like, "Hey, here we are. Here's a picture of us," and we're just chilling out. And I'm like, it's awesome. It shocks me because they're no longer kids, but but the absolute American heroes worldwide. And so God bless them. And thank you to your whole family, man.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you all for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate
Let's
y'all.
hear it for Dean Cain.
Hey,
Yours and my Superman. Thank you.
thank you much.
This is Captain Zap Brannigan. I prefer to call myself Admiral Zap Brannigan. I'd like to draw your attention to that sexy subscribe button, those curves, that triangle. Like Leela's eye. Click it. Ah, that was great. Follow fun and have fandom and yabo.